Oh my gosh, guys. It is officially the night before Founders Day, Lord. It is the day. It is the night, the before Research Day. And I have on my Spellbound shirt, actually from 2022, which is so crazy. Because literally Spellbound is also this weekend. But however, I will not be participating. My family is actually here to see me present my research paper, and I'm actually very, very excited. As y'all can see in this lovely corner, this is kind of what I'll be wearing tomorrow. You guys will see the whole thing once tomorrow is arrived. Right now, I'm about to sit over here and I'm about to curl my hair. It needs more of a wash than anything, but I don't feel like washing it. So, we're not gonna curl it for tonight. For tomorrow. And then, yeah. So basically, if you do not know what Research Day is, hold on, let me get myself situated. If you do not know what Research Day is exactly kind of what it sounds like. It is a day where students have the opportunity, if they so please, to present research that they conducted either over the summer, during the semester, in the class, rather not the person is on campus, off campus, rather and not the research was done off campus or on campus. And it's a day to showcase what students have learned, as alongside with just learning more about certain topics, right? And personally, I enjoy research. Granted, sometimes, some prior years, it would just seem like a lot. Like my freshman year, Research Day and Spellbound was on the same day, so it was a lot, honestly, going on. So, I was overstimulated. I was more so overstimulated by the fact of, all the incoming freshmen at the time. And the fact that, Research Day was also happening because I wanted, I had to go to, I had to at least go to a research, I had to go to either a poster or a presentation. And since I decided to volunteer, I ended up going to presentation. Either way, it was just very hectic, very overwhelming. Then last year, I had to go again for extra credit for a class. And then this year I'm presenting. But as a biology major, we have to present to an educational/non-educational audience. And our major, rather not, it is on Research Day, but Research Day gives an opportunity for those who either A, don't end up ever having an internship or anything like that, B, who can't present off campus or anything like that. Which I do fall to the category of not being able to ever present or be able to get into an internship when it came to doing stuff like that and presenting off campus. So, I'm very happy that that there is a Research Day for me to do this and for me to present the research that I've done. Now, as far as the research that me and my co-presenter did, we worked on the soil biodiversity within the nervous system and basically how that ended up affecting humans. So one of the key things was that, if y'all remember, last semester, fall, y'all would see me in, microbiology, and y'all would see me, plating and doing all that stuff, gram staining. That's what I was preparing for. I ended up taking a class because I saw it as research, and I was like, okay, I could, if I'm taking it in the fall, I could present this for Research Day, and then, which is what I'm doing, which is why I decided to do it. So, yes, we're doing that, and also, there ends up happening to be, a gap in between, finding research. There seems to be a gap when it comes to the research of the soil affecting the brain and different disorders. There seems to be like a huge gap between that because apparently there actually has not been that much research on it. So, because our professor actually wants us to do it, like wants to continue doing it once we leave, which I think is like so cool to be a part of like something that's like going to continue growing. So, yeah. Hold on. So that was actually a really fun project for us to do. And we will be presenting on it tomorrow. But y'all, I'm super excited and super nervous. I actually need to finish. I need to help my partner so we can finish doing the acknowledgement slides because we need to figure out who all we're acknowledging. Like, we know who we're acknowledging, but so like I said, like there's a new class. Like there's a class every semester. It's not like a fall spring, like a completely like a fall class or completely a spring class. And she's creating and she's collecting data each semester. So we have to like incorporate her class. That helps. And I'm like, what? But it's okay. But yeah, y'all, it took a minute because then y'all, I had to learn all of these big old words. And apparently it's like the ABCs when it comes to like biology or like just like people who are like who have like PhDs and everything like this in their field. This is like their ABCs. I'm over here now. Some of them I kind of knew, like Staphylococcus aureus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus cereus. But what the heck is Enterococcus facilis? What the heck is Micrococcus? I can't even think of the back word, but it's okay because I'm gonna get it tomorrow. So by the time this even gets published, I would have presented and I would have done well. It's just that right now I don't see the words and it's not coming up to my brain. But y'all, they literally my professor was like, you have to know this. I'm like, so much pressure. But other than that though, I'm really excited. And I feel like it's going to go extremely, extremely well. Normally I'm showing you guys, like, you know, not the educational stuff sometimes, only because like I be needing to pay attention. But one of the things that I actually did was told my sister, I was like, you need to invite you need to invite Kayla. If y'all don't know Kayla's my niece, my little redhead strawberry shortcake. She wants, ever since I started college, she's been talking about college. So I was like, you know, I was like, because she watches like my YouTube videos, she watches my content, she watches my TikToks and everything. So I was just like, you know what? I want her to experience something other than just the fun stuff or some of the stuff that can't be shown like in class. Like professors' faces can't be shown unless they allow it, but majority of the time it's a no. And I was just like, and so I really wanted my niece to have that exposure at a young age. Cause let's be honest, she's 9, y'all. My niece is 9. So by the time she even gets to 18, Spelman College, literally it's not even, it's 9 years. So like by the time my niece even comes to college, literally this school would be completely different. I feel like certain things would definitely stay the same, but like but other stuff is definitely gonna be different. Oh Lord. But yeah, Kayla is here, which I'm super duper excited for. Good morning. It is now time, y'all, for me to see how my hair is gonna turn out. Oh my gosh, guys, this is how it came out. I need to brush it out. I need like a wide tooth comb. So I did not end up finding it, which is fine. You know, you always got fingers. Y'all, sorry, bad lighting, as my niece would say. Y'all, I told y'all I did my acknowledgements, right? Why was the list not sent? So some of it's really honestly just going based off the top of my head. So my mentors actually first in the morning was tea. And I thought I was broken here at 7:45. At this point, I just been walking around. Y'all, it's 7:57. I think my nerve's still here, but it's okay. And we're gonna go on and head to Science Center. You guys made it to a whole new day. Hello, my name is Tay.Ellise. I'm a junior biology major from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariana Pratt. I am a third-year biology major on the pre-nursing track from Brooklyn, New York. And again, this is our presentation on the effect of soil biodiversity for the human nervous system.
Okay, did you know that the environment can directly impact the functionality and development of the brain? It's okay, we're talking more so soil, not just other things of the environment as in like weather and all those things. The actual soil. And if not, it's okay. I didn't know either before entering into microbiology. Now, as we matriculated throughout the class, we noticed that there was some gaps, and which ends up creating our objective. To compare the biodiversity of soil between different Atlanta neighborhoods and determine if there is a relationship between the biodiversity and the public health indicators of the nervous system regulation.
Okay, so in our presentation, we're going to introduce our presentation by talking about why this matters. We're going to go into the correlations that may exist between soil biodiversity and why that matters as it affects human health. We're also going to talk about the methods that we use to collect our soil, where we collected our soil from, and the different tests that we did to determine the bacteria that we could find in the soil that we collected. We'll talk about our results, what we found, and how that correlates with the human nervous system. And then we'll conclude by talking about implications for policy and future studies that can be done with our research. So why this matters, we all know that the soil is a rich and dense food source, which makes it hospitable for a lot of microbial growth. And going into the soil biodiversity, as I mentioned a little bit before, because of One Health, we know that this is a theory where there may be an intersection that exists between the soil biodiversity and human health.
So we're going to get into some background knowledge and how soil microbes do play a vital role in both plants and humans, and that there's a strong link between the gut microbiota exposure and the mental health and neuroinflammation that we'll get into a little bit later. And then also, like I said earlier, that there was a gap between the lack of research linking into our everyday exposure to soil. So, okay, so we have a map here of basically Atlanta, and then we have our 4 neighborhoods that we got. So we have the 4 neighborhoods that we got, which is the Atlanta University Center, which is where we are here, which would be referenced as the AUC. Then we also have Sandy Springs, we have Cascade, and we have Vine City. And they each have little stars so you can be able to identify them on the map here. And as you can see, Sandy Springs has the highest population size alongside with the highest median family income with a residential land use. And Cascade has the lowest population size with the lowest median family income with a land use of nature preserve.
Okay, so into the different biochemical tests that we did to identify the different bacteria that we cultured. We did a catalase test, which tests bacteria for the enzyme catalase, which allows bacteria to survive in oxygenated air. We also did a gram staining. We have an image of that here, where we determined if the bacteria we found was either gram positive or gram negative. In the image that we have here, which is an image of a bacteria that we found, which was Bacillus subtilis, and we identified this because we see here that it is gram positive because we have the blue-purple staining, and we see the rods, which indicated that it was a form of bacillus to us. We also did an EMB and McConkey selective plating, which helps us determine if our bacteria is able to ferment lactose. So we have that image here. None of the bacteria we found showed any indication that they were able to ferment lactose, or else we would have seen green dots in our smears of bacteria. We also did a starch hydrolysis test, which tests for bacteria able to break down starch into smaller sugars using water. So here we have an image of a starch hydrolysis test. As you can see, the bacteria that was able to hydrolyze starch has those clear windows in our agar. We also did a mannitol salt agar, which helps us determine if the bacteria was salt tolerant and if it could ferment lactose. Growth on the plates indicate that it was the bacteria that we found was salt tolerant, and then the color change that we see from our pink agar to the yellow color displayed here showed us that the bacteria was able to ferment mannitol. So as we go into how it correlates to the nervous system health, these were all of the disabilities from the nervous system that we looked at, and using that, we did a positive correlation with the biodiversity that we found. Positive correlation meaning that an increase in the soil biodiversity led to an increase in these disabilities that we found. Negative correlation meaning an increase in the soil biodiversity led to a decrease in these disabilities, and no correlation meaning that whether or not it increased or decreased, it didn't affect the disability.
So we're going to go into what we actually got. So we end up isolating multiple cultural bacteria from the Atlantic neighborhoods with a total of 86. As you can see, Sandy Springs has the highest. And then we end up getting 33 unique bacteria, which was isolated. Once again, Sandy Springs has the highest. However, Vine City does have the lowest, so we kind of excluded that one from further analysis just due to a small sample. And then, I'm going to the next slide. So, as we end up getting and observing, we have Bacillus subtilis, which was the most frequently identified in the Atlanta neighborhoods, with Sandy Springs having 8, AUC having 9, Cascade having 2, and Vine City only having 1. Once again, Vine City, there wasn't a lot. And as far as our other highly represented bacteria included, we have Bacillus cereus, Enterococcus bacillus, Micrococcus luteus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and we also have Staphylococcus aureus.
So as we talk about the correlation again, we were able to discover that the strongest correlation between the soil biodiversity and the nervous system were between the cognitive disability, depression, and mental health not good, and we identified that there was a negative correlation. However, our p-value, because of how small our sample size was, wasn't under that 0.05 margin that we usually look for. But we do predict that if we had a larger sample size, we would see that predicted or displayed, I should say, in our data.
So we have our final thoughts. A total of 86 cultural bacteria were isolated from the Atlanta neighborhoods, with 33 unique ones, with Vine City once again being the lowest. We have Bacillus subtilis, which was frequently identified across Atlanta with a total of 20 isolates, with the most common being actually in the AUC. These findings highlight the need for equitable access to green spaces and support integrating microbiome health into urban and public health strategies. And then in the future, we wanted to include this by getting more samples from Vine City and obtaining a new set of data from places like Buckhead and South Fullerton, just to observe like a better accuracy and get a more variety of range so we can look at that p-value that Ariana stated earlier.
So for our acknowledgements, we want to acknowledge Dr. Coates. She helped us with coming up with our whole presentation. And the other research students, a part of our microbiology class that helped us with getting our data and analyzing our soil, and then funding from the Spelman biology department. That's all. Thank you.
All right, y'all, so that is the end of research day for me. I stayed a little bit to watch the people that were after me. Y'all, there are so many malfunctions. I have a stain in the front of my pants. I have a stain in the back of my pants. The hem of my pants came apart on my right side. I'm done. But it's okay. I think the presentation actually went very, very well. But yeah, I went to go. I saw everybody else's that were after me. I got this research day mug. Took some pictures by the door. I had to retake some because I don't know what happened with my hair between this morning and that presentation, but she did not last. She did not last at all. So we're gonna go ahead and head back to my room right now so I can go change and go hang out with my family for the rest of the day. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.